Welcome to Grade 5 through 7 writing class with Abundant Education. Today's class has 3 parts. First, we will review vocabulary. Then we will practice grammar, especially how to use pronouns correctly. After that, we will begin our new writing skill, writing argumentative summaries. In the past few classes, we practiced summarizing stories and informative writing. Today, we are moving into argumentative writing. That means we are learning how to summarize a writer's opinion, claim, and reasons clearly without adding our own opinion. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to find an author's claim, identify the main reasons, and write a short, neutral summary. Please have your pencil ready. Let's begin with vocabulary. Today's vocabulary words describe actions, feelings, attitudes, and situations. As we go through the words, do not just memorize the definitions. Try to imagine each word in a real-life situation. The first word is beseech. To beseech means to ask earnestly or beg. For example, if someone says, "I beseech you to help me," they are asking very seriously. Next is consternation. Consternation means shock, worry, or confusion. Imagine students hearing that a big test has been moved to today. Their surprised and worried faces show consternation. The next word is delectable. Delectable means delicious. If a dessert is so good that you want another bite right away, you can call it delectable. Then we have garland. A garland is a wreath or chain of flowers or leaves. You might see garlands used for decorations at celebrations. Next is gratify. To gratify means to please or satisfy. For example, receiving a good grade after studying hard may gratify you. Then we have haughty. Haughty describes someone who is prideful and acts as if they are better than others. A haughty person may look down on people. Next is impetuous. Impetuous means acting suddenly without thinking carefully. If someone makes a quick decision without considering the consequences, that decision may be impetuous. Now look at the second column. Lavish means very fancy, generous, or more than enough. A lavish party might have beautiful decorations, expensive food, and many guests. Pluck means courage or bravery, especially when facing something difficult. It takes pluck to stand up and give a speech in front of a crowd. Ponder means to think deeply. When you ponder a question, you do not answer immediately. You take time to reflect. Finally, privilege means a special right or advantage given to a person or group. For example, going on a special field trip may be considered a privilege. As you study vocabulary, ask yourself, is this word positive, negative, or neutral? Is it about an action, a feeling, or a description?
Let's continue with the last few vocabulary words. The word prostrate means lying flat, usually face down. It can also describe someone who is extremely weak or helpless. For example, people were prostrate with terror means they were overwhelmed by fear. Next is rapture. Rapture means great joy or delight. If a team wins an important game, the fans may shout in rapture. Then we have revelry. Revelry means noisy celebration or merrymaking. A party with music, cheering, and dancing could be described as revelry. Finally, whim means a sudden wish or idea, often without a strong reason. For example, buying something just because you suddenly feel like it may be acting on a whim. Now that we have reviewed the word list, remember, vocabulary is not just for matching definitions. Strong writers use precise words to make their writing clearer and more interesting. For example, instead of saying very happy, we might say rapturous. Instead of saying he asked again and again, we might say he beseeched.
Now we are on the vocabulary practice page. The left side asks you to match the correct phrases. For each question, look at the vocabulary word or phrase and decide which explanation fits best. Here is a strategy. First, read all the answer choices. Then cross out the choices that clearly do not match. If you are unsure, think about whether the word has a positive, negative, or neutral meaning. For example, if you see haughty, remember that it describes someone proud in a negative way. So you should look for an answer about someone who acts superior or looks down on others. On the right side, you will replace the bold phrase with one vocabulary word. This is a little harder because you need to understand the meaning of the whole sentence. Let's do the first one together as a model. The sentence says, I am making an earnest request to you not to get involved in their quarrel. The bold phrase is making an earnest request. Which vocabulary word means to ask seriously or beg? That word is beseech. So we would write, I beseech you not to get involved in their quarrel. Now you try the rest. Do not rush. For each sentence, ask, what does the bold phrase mean? Which vocabulary word has the same meaning? Pause here and complete this page. When you are finished, continue to the next page. Now we are reviewing grammar, using pronouns correctly. Pronouns are words like I, me, he, him, she, her, we, us, they, and them. The important rule today is the difference between subject pronouns and object pronouns. Subject pronouns do the action. These include I, he, she, we, and they. Object pronouns receive the action or come after a preposition. These include me, him, her, us, and them. Here is a helpful trick. If two people are listed together, cover the other person's name and test the sentence. For example, should we say Erica and I went to the store or Erica and me went to the store? Cover Erica and. You would say I went to the store, not me went to the store. So the correct sentence is Erica and I went to the store. Now let's test the object form. Should we say the teacher spoke to Erica and I, or the teacher spoke to Erica and me? Cover Erica and. You would say the teacher spoke to me, not spoke to I. So the correct answer is Erica and me. As you complete these exercises, look carefully at whether the pronoun is doing the action or receiving the action. For the first few questions, slow down and use the cover-up test. After you get comfortable, you can move faster. Pause here and complete the pronoun exercises. Then continue when you are ready. Now we are beginning our main writing lesson, writing argumentative summaries. Today's focus is finding the claim and the main reasons. An argumentative summary is different from a story summary. In a story summary, we usually talk about characters, setting, beginning, middle, and ending. But in an argumentative summary, we do not retell a story. Instead, we explain what the author argues and how the author supports that argument. Today's lesson goal is to identify an author's claim and main reasons, then write a short, neutral summary. The word neutral is very important. Neutral means we do not add our own opinion. Even if we agree or disagree with the author, our job in a summary is to explain the author's idea clearly and fairly. By the end of class, you should be able to explain what an argumentative summary is, identify the author's claim, find 2 or 3 supporting reasons, and write a 2 to 3 sentence summary. Our focus skill is simple but powerful: claim plus reasons. This page gives us a helpful summary formula. The formula is, the author argues that blank because blank, blank, and blank. The first blank is the author's claim. The other blanks are the author's main reasons. Let's look at the example. The author argues that schools should start later because students need more sleep, later start times may improve focus, and teens are often tired early in the morning. Notice 3 things. First, the summary starts with the author argues that. This helps us show that we are reporting the author's idea, not just giving our own opinion. Second, the summary includes the claim, schools should start later. Third, the summary gives reasons. Students need more sleep, later start times may improve focus, and teens are tired early in the morning. A good argumentative summary is short, clear, and neutral. It should not say, I think, I agree, or this is a great idea. Those are personal opinions. A summary should focus on what the author says. Pause here and practice saying the formula aloud one time. Now we are looking at the student printout. At the top, you see 2 useful sentence frames. The first one says, the author argues that blank because blank, blank, and blank. This is best when you have 1 claim and 3 clear reasons. The second frame says, in this passage, the author argues that blank. The author supports this claim by explaining that blank and blank. This frame is useful when you want to write 2 sentences instead of 1. Now let's look at part 1, opinion or strong claim. A weak opinion is often too short or too general. For example, homework is bad is an opinion, but it does not clearly explain the argument. A stronger claim gives a position and often includes a reason. For example, schools should give less homework because students need time to rest and spend time with family. That is stronger because it tells us what should happen and why. As you complete part 1, circle the stronger claim in each pair. Look for the sentence that is more specific and gives a reason. Now move to part 2, guided practice. The first passage is about whether students should have a longer lunch period. As you read, your first job is to find the claim. Usually the claim appears near the beginning or near the end. Ask yourself, what does the author want the reader to believe? Then find the reasons. Reasons answer the question, why does the author believe this? When you write the short summary, do not copy the whole passage. Choose the claim and the most important reasons. For the second passage, should students read every day? You will do the same thing. Find the claim first, then underline or list the reasons. Pause here and complete part 1 and begin the guided practice. Do not worry about writing perfect sentences yet. First, focus on finding the claim and reasons.
Now let's look at the guided practice example. The passage asks, should students have longer lunch period? The claim is, schools should give students a longer lunch period. This is the author's main argument. It tells us what the author believes schools should do. Now look at the reasons. Reason 1, students need enough time to eat without rushing. Reason 2, students can relax and talk with friends. Reason 3, students may return to class calmer and more ready to learn. Notice that these reasons are not random details. They directly support the claim. They explain why a longer lunch period might be helpful. Now look at the sample summary. It begins with, the author argues that. That is a strong start because it keeps the summary neutral. It does not say, I think longer lunch is a good idea. It explains the author's argument. When you write your own summary later, use this example as a model. A strong argumentative summary should include the claim, include the main reasons, stay neutral, and be shorter than the original passage.
Now it is your turn to practice more independently. For partner practice, read the passage, should students read every day? First, circle the claim. Remember, the claim is the author's main argument. Ask yourself, what does the author want students to do or believe? Second, underline 3 reasons. Reasons usually explain why the claim is important or helpful. Third, write a 2 to 3 sentence summary. Use the starting phrase, the author argues that. Before you finish, use the checklist on the right side. Ask yourself, did I identify the claim? Did I include at least 2 reasons? Did I avoid adding my own opinion? Is my summary shorter than the passage? This checklist is important because many students accidentally write their own opinion instead of a summary. For example, do not write, I love reading, so I agree. That may be true, but it is not part of the author's argument. Pause here and complete the partner practice or independent writing. When you are done, continue to the next page.
This page has several practice sections. First, look at Quick Check. You need to decide what kind of summary each text would need: narrative, informative, or argumentative. A narrative text tells a story. It usually has characters and events. An informative text teaches facts or explains a topic. An argumentative text tries to convince the reader of a claim. Read each example carefully and choose the correct type. Next, look at topic, opinion, or claim. A topic is just the subject. For example, school uniforms is only a topic. An opinion tells what someone thinks, but it may not give a reason. For example, school uniforms are uncomfortable. A claim is stronger. It gives a clear argument and often includes reasons. For example, schools should require uniforms because they can reduce distractions and help students feel equal. As you work, ask yourself, is this just a subject, a personal feeling, or a full argument? Now look at reason or detail. A reason supports the claim directly. A detail may be true, but it is not always one of the main supporting points. For example, if the claim is schools should give students a longer lunch period, a reason might be students need enough time to eat. That directly supports the claim. But a detail like the lunch bell rings at different times in different schools may be related to lunch, but it does not strongly support the claim. Finally, look at the passage, "Should students learn typing?" Read the passage and then study the weak summary. The weak summary says, "I agree that typing is super important because I like using computers and typing is fun. Students should definitely learn it." This is weak because it adds personal opinion and does not clearly explain the author's reasons. Your job is to rewrite it as a neutral, argumentative summary. A better summary should begin with something like, "The author argues that." Then include the author's main reasons, such as efficiency, revision, and preparation for future classes or jobs. Pause here and complete the page before looking at the answer key.
This page is a selected answer key for vocabulary and grammar. Use this page only after you have tried the exercises yourself. When checking vocabulary, do not just mark answers right or wrong. If you missed one, go back to the original word list and ask, what clue did I miss? Was the word positive, negative, or neutral? Was it an action, feeling, or description? When checking grammar, pay attention to the reason behind the answer. For pronouns, ask, is the pronoun the subject, the object, or the object of a preposition? For example, after a preposition like to, for, between, after, or on, we usually need an object pronoun, such as me, him, her, us, or them. If you missed a pronoun question, use the cover-up test again. Remove the other person's name and see which pronoun sounds correct. Pause here and check your vocabulary and grammar answers carefully. This final page is the selected answer key for the writing practice. Before checking, make sure your own work is complete. As you review the answers, focus on the thinking process. For the first section, remember, a narrative summary is for a story. An informative summary is for a text that explains facts. An argumentative summary is for a text that makes a claim and gives reasons. For the topic, opinion, or claim section, notice the difference between a topic, a simple opinion, and a strong claim. A strong claim usually tells what should happen and why. For the reason or detail section, remember that a reason must support the claim directly. Finally, look at the suggested rewritten summary for typing. A strong answer should not say, "I agree," or "I like typing." Instead, it should explain what the author argues and what reasons the author gives. As you revise your own summary, check for 3 things. Does it begin by explaining what the author argues? Does it include the author's main reasons? Does it stay neutral without personal opinion? Great work today. You have now learned the foundation of argumentative summaries. Find the claim, find the reasons, and summarize neutrally. Pause here and make any corrections to your work.